All right, I am going to show you how I make my coffee water. So why would I make a coffee water? It's because most coffee has too many minerals. Yes, you can help me make a coffee water. So I've got my little assistant here, Aspen. Say hi, Aspen.
Hi, Aspen.
Hi, Aspen. Okay, and where's your spoon? Got a little spoon? That's a little spoon we may or may not use. It's optional. So I'm going to make coffee water so it doesn't have any calcium in it. The number one killer of espresso machines is calcium buildup. Calcium is in the water evaporates, calcium does not. So over time, calcium builds up in your lines, in your steam wand, and in your internal plumbing. Okay, perfect. And then you get calcium deposits, which will eventually murder your machine. Now you can do things to fix that. I have something that I hope to not use for quite some time. It's Descal from Ernex. It comes in like a gray bottle. I have like a lifetime supply because I have one with with this coffee water. I shouldn't need to do it. Now there's also just basic explanation of my materials that I've used. I bought these Bernardin 1 liter jugs or glass containers. Glass is usually best because plastic is just not ideal for this. Apparently it can just kind of leach off over time. So I bought those for a couple bucks. I bought like a 16 pack. I'm using 4. I mean, obviously you just need 1 for your hardness, 1 for your buffer, which I've labeled, and I just put the recipe on here so I can just keep remaking it as needed. I found that it does last, your concentrates last a very long time. So what else have I used? I have a scale, obviously. If you had one that went to 1/100 of a gram, that would be the best. Mine only goes to 1/10 of a gram, so I just kind of make do, but it's been fine. Okay, so what have I done? You have your buffer solution. I mean, once you make these 2 concentrates, you can kind of make whatever recipe you want. These are a standard. These don't alter. You just have your buffer and your hardness, and then once you have that, then you're just playing with different solutions of each. So, buffer is 1.68 grams of sodium bicarbonate, which is just baking soda. Just your regular baking soda, not baking powder. 1.68 grams, which is barely anything. This is a 500 gram box, so it'll cost a fraction of a penny. So 1.68 grams to 1,000 grams of water. So I just put the 1.68 grams on my scale, spooned it in with my little spoon, and then I add you could do like, whatever your 998 point some grams of water, or just do 1,000. It doesn't really matter that much. Then magnesium sulfate, which is essentially just Epsom salt. Now you can find Epsom salt most places, but what you want is something that's either food grade. I found this one at a local Canadian Nutrition Center. I found this one in the... Yes! Woo! Okay, just give me a minute. So this was at my Canadian Nutrition Center in McIver Mall, but you can find it in a lot of places. You can get pharmaceutical grade, or you can get, this is food grade. Obviously you don't want something that has additives added to it. So, and then you need either distilled water, or you would need deionized water. It doesn't really matter. So I just found distilled water. You can get it anywhere. Mine's from Safeway. So, and then yeah, these little Bernardin glass containers. So that's all you need. So basically this is from Barista Hustle website. So you make your buffer, 1.68 grams sodium bicarb, hardness 2.45 grams magnesium sulfate. Once you have these 2, I mean, they last a very long time. This has already been like over a month that I've been using it. 1 or 2 coffees a day. And this I just refilled for the first time because most of the recipes I'm using need more hardness. And you can make whatever recipe you want. So I'm using the Barista Hustle, recipe. It's probably the most common. Scott Rayo is probably the next most popular for espresso. You can change it however you want. If you wanted to extract more or less from your coffee beans, you can have more or less hardness, which will do that. So you can kind of manipulate if you want to get really granular. I'm not to the level where I am really concerned about extracting more or less. I mean, I can adjust my grind or dosage to do some of that as well. So once I get that, absolutely perfectly dialed in, then I can worry more about you know, more or less hardness. But I just want a good coffee that's not going to be safe for my machine. So anyways, so you have your 2 concentrates. Now I'm going to make my Barista Hustle Water, so I can at least show you how to do that. So all I'm going to do is I need 40.1 grams of my buffer. Here, let me just put this here. So got my scale, I'm going to tare it out. And what I've also used is this little syringe. It's been really handy. I don't think it's 100% necessary. You could pour it, but if you pour a little bit too much, here you might mess up your recipe a little bit. So 40.1 grams of my buffer. It's almost 40 grams usually. 38.3. Okay, perfect. 3.1 grams. Okay, I mean, if you want to get really crazy, you could rinse that out every time. I don't think it's really necessary. Tear it out, because I don't want to do math. Now my hardness, 80.7 grams for the Barista Hustle recipe. $39. $80.7, perfect. Onto the drip. All right, now I'm going to add my distilled water. Stir it out. Yeah? Aspen, can you pass it? Okay, 879.2 grams. Basically, so it's the very brim. There we go. 880, that's close enough. Where's the water bottle? Where's the water bottle on? All right, and that's it. So this is a liter, so I make generally 2 of these because I have a 2-liter reservoir. This one's done. You can let it sit. It's probably fine. Just mix it up a little bit. Probably use it right away. But my concentrates I'll let sit usually overnight because you can tell right when you put it in. It will generally still have the Epsom salt. You can see it's still granular. It needs to dissolve. So usually overnight. You can give it a good shake, but overnight's best. Make sure you don't get your scale too wet. One time I had to let my scale dry out. I got some water in it. This little cheap one. And that's it. So just repeat as necessary. You can make as many as you want. I usually just make 2 at a time because that'll last me a while. This only takes me generally, without explanation, it'll take me a couple minutes. And yeah, that'll last me at least a week. So enjoy.